Okay, so we're going to go over distributive property. They also sometimes call it FOIL. In this case, when you have two binomials. Binomials are terms that have two brackets. When they say have two binomials, it's two brackets with two terms inside of them that you have to multiply together. And we'll talk about what this acronym stands for. Now, in the first one, it doesn't look like we have two binomials. It looks like we have a term, and then we have a bracket, and we have a squared. Now, if you remember, this squared technically means the base times itself twice. Okay? For instance, if it was 5 squared, it would be 5 times 5. So what this is asking us is to multiply this base times itself. So we're going to rewrite it another way. Okay? And this time, I'm going to write x minus 2 times x minus 2. So we've rewritten the base twice, so now we don't have to write this squared. Okay? Now, there's a couple different ways you can go about the order of multiplying this. There's technically one, and then think of this as a term 2,
so that
and 3
two
terms.
Basically means the two brackets, like the example you're showing here, right?
Yeah. And what you need to do here is we need to distribute, and we can distribute in any order. When you multiply, okay, and I'm going to write 3 terms. Think of this, it was A, and I'll put brackets, times B times C. Okay? If I multiply them all, it's technically A, B, C.
Yeah.
Now, a very common error is students will take this first term and multiply it into every single one of these. And if you were to do that, that's like taking A, timesing it by B, and timesing it by C. And that's not what we're doing. We times it by just one of the terms. Okay?
Yeah.
So I usually suggest we deal with these two brackets first, then we do the outside term last. Okay? So that's what we're going to do in this case. So when they talk about FOIL, FOIL means you multiply the first terms, and the first terms in each bracket are the x and the x. The outside terms are the x and the negative 2. Those are the two farthest outside. The inside terms, which are the negative 2 and the x. And we'll use black here. The last terms, which are the negative 2 and the negative 2. And if you notice, I've underlined everything twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means everything gets done twice. Sometimes they show it like a rainbow. You take the first term times both,
exactly.
and the second term times both. It's the exact same idea here. Okay, let's do it a little cleaner though. So we're going to go through that FOIL. So in green, okay, what is x? That was our green one, right? What is x times x? Do you know?
Is it going to be x squared?
Squared, that's right, x squared. Okay, so we got my first term. The outside terms we did in blue. X times negative 2. You know what that will be?
Negative 2x.
Yeah, negative 2x. That's right. The inside terms, negative 2 times x.
Negative 2 times x is going to be negative 2x.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, the last terms. Negative 2 times negative 2.
It's going to be negative 4.
Remember, what's a negative times a negative?
Oh, a positive, so 4?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, positive 4. So there we go. We've done all of the terms within those two brackets, okay? Now what I want to do is simplify this. I got to look for like terms. So I'm going to write it all in black because it might look confusing with different colors right now. All right, so I have our f at x is equal to 6. And technically x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. Do you see any like terms?
Yeah.
Which?
The negative 2x and the negative 2x.
Yeah. So when I combine those, so negative 2x minus 2x, or negative 2 minus 2, do you know what that will be?
The 4?
Yeah. And it'll technically be negative 4. So x squared minus 4x plus 4.
How do you know it's minus? Because isn't it a positive 4?
Think of it like this. We're at negative 2 on the number line, and then it says to subtract 2. So that would mean going to the left 2. So if we're at negative 2, the next number is negative 3. The next number is negative 4. That's subtracting 2. Okay? If you don't remember, you can always use a calculator if you're stuck with your integers.
Yeah.
Okay? So, finally, so we've done that part. We still have to distribute this 6.
Yeah.
And we got to distribute the 6 to all 3 of the terms. Okay? So when we go to do that, f at x is equal to, what will 6 times x squared be?
6 times x squared is going to be 6x squared.
That's right. Okay. What about 6 times negative 4x? Might be a little
A
harder.
positive and a negative is a negative. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be negative. And you do 6 times 4.
Yep. Negative 6 times 4. What will that be? Want me to help you out?
Yeah, because I don't know.
That's
The
okay.
negatives always confuse. Okay,
24x.
Oh.
Okay, which
I'm
means
thinking of that number. I was trying to go back.
with
on
backwards,
the
yeah, it wasn't adding, subtracting, multiplication. And this one is 6 times positive source, so that'd be positive 24. And this is it. This is your final answer. We've simplified everything in here.
Yeah.
Okay? So we ended up with 3 terms in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, where